Ow, it's recording in 720p. Hello everyone. Today I'm trying something a little bit different. Uh, I'm going to narrate over some video clips of me just on a hike. I figured that there are enough videos of me sitting in my bedroom that's getting kind of boring, so I thought I'd give this a try. And so for today's video, I'd like to talk a little bit about the Moment camera app. I just recently got it for my iPhone, and I want to talk about that. So first, I'll talk about the positives. I really like the interface. It looks like the native camera app on the iPhone, which I like. But it still has additional functionality that you would need for some additional manual controls. And unlike the Filmic Pro app, you can get to a lot of those manual controls without having to dive into a menu system. So I really like that about the Moment app. All right, and that's all the good I'm going to say about this app. It's actually a fine app, but everybody's here to hear about the problems, and so I want to talk about the gripes I have with this app. So the thing that really surprised me about this app was just how buggy it is. It's very surprising because this app has been around for a while, and so it's surprising that there's still all these bugs floating around. You think that they have ironed it out by now. So one of the bugs is that for some reason, the recording resolution really likes to switch to 720p for the selfie cam. If I'm recording with the back camera, I'm usually recording at 1080p, and if I switch to the selfie camera, it would, for some reason, switch back to 720. I never want 720p, never. I want at least 1080p. So I don't know why, but it always switches to 720p for the selfie camera. Another bug that I encounter sometimes is that the button to switch between the 1x and 2x lens sometimes will end up behind other UI elements, and so I can't click on it to switch between the wide and the telephoto. I don't have a video clip showing this. I didn't capture an example of this happening, but it does happen sometimes. And there's no way to correct that other than to reboot that app, which is super annoying. The third bug that I will mention here is the fact that um, the Moment app oftentimes produces corrupted videos. I'm not quite sure why, but there are a few clips from this hike that ended up getting corrupted. Now, I don't know exactly what's going on because I can still view the video clips on my iPhone, but I cannot transfer onto my computer. And actually, this is part of the reason why I'm doing this video editing on my iPhone rather than on my computer. It's because I can't seem to transfer those clips back to my computer. And the fourth and final bug that I want to talk about is the fact that the white balance slider doesn't seem to turn when it's on auto white balance the way that it does for the shutter speed and ISO. When you have auto exposure, or when you have the camera app set to auto exposure, you'll see those sliders move automatically to compensate for changes in lighting. You'll see the shutter speed change, you'll see the ISO change, but for some reason the white balance slider doesn't seem to change it, so you can't really see when it's adjusting itself. And this is a problem for me because oftentimes what I want to do is have it on auto white balance and then lock it once I'm ready to record. But because the slider doesn't move around, I can't lock it at the correct setting. Every time I try to adjust the white balance, it just goes to whatever the slider was set before. And so there's absolutely no benefit to the auto white balance. Notably, this is a feature that is available on the Filmic Pro app, and I wish it's on all camera apps and on just like regular cameras. My A6400, for example, doesn't have that function. You can set a custom white balance, but uh, you can't just do an auto white balance and then lock it when it's time to record, which is very annoying. I would go so far as to say that this is actually one of my main gripes with the native camera app. Is the fact that you can't seem to lock the white balance. Now, I have read somewhere that locking the exposure and the focus will also lock the white balance in the native camera app, which is fine. But it's really annoying to lock all three of those things. It would be better to be able to lock those things independently. And of course, that's not possible with the native camera app. Now, sadly, the Moment app also doesn't allow you to lock the auto white balance, but it does let you it does let you manually set the white balance, which you would think is okay. But uh, the truth is, white balance is more than just about the color temperature, and I can show this using, of all things, the Filmic Pro app. If you've ever looked at the auto white balance in the Filmic Pro app, you'll notice that not only does the color temperature change, but also the tint. So I'm going to show a clip of that now. So here I have daylight pointed at a white wall, and I'm periodically shining a 3200 Kelvin light onto it. And you can see the auto white balance shifting. And it's not just the temperature that's moving, but also the tint. And this is what it should look like when you lock the white balance. That 3200 Kelvin light should look orange. The Moment app, of course, only has one slider to allow you to change the temperature. There is no second slider for the tint. Not being able to properly auto white balance and then locking it is a big problem, and it's actually one of my major gripes with the native iPhone camera app. It's not so much not being able to set the shutter speed and maintaining the 180-degree shutter angle. I don't find that stuff very distracting, but having sudden shifts in color, that is very distracting, and I'm going to show a clip of that now. Here's a short clip shot on the iPhone native camera app showing a dramatic change in color when you don't have auto exposure, autofocus, and auto white balance locked. So that's all I wanted to say about the Moment app from the video side of things. In terms of the photography side of things, I do wish that they would add a feature to turn on continuous lighting from the back LED when taking pictures. That is something that I use, and I've actually downloaded a separate app just to be able to do that. And of course, it would be nice if the Moment app had that feature, because then that way I won't need so many different camera apps. So anyway, that's it. I will see you in the next one.